Alrighty, y'all, how are we gonna try to kill Michael Myers today? Use a baseball bat. No, we're not doing that. How about we spray him with water? Are you serious? Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go grab my keys, get in the car, and get out of Haddonfield. Seriously, I mean, who wants to live there anyway? What's going on, everyone? James here with another real review, and today I'm so excited to finally talk about Halloween Kills, the sequel to the 2018 film Halloween, which is technically a sequel to the original movie that is retconning everything after the first film. So yeah, it gets a little confusing, but guys, Halloween Kills is definitely a film that has been talked about by some people and will definitely be, a very hot topic of conversation this weekend. A huge thank you to Universal Pictures for giving me the chance to watch it in theaters, and you have the chance to watch it on Peacock or in theaters this Friday. The movie is directed by David Gordon Green, who also directed the 2018 film, and it's starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, and Andy Matichak. And guys, the film itself, we'll talk about what I liked and what I didn't really like about Halloween Kills, but before we get into it, if it is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James. We break down movies and TV like this all the time, so you're not going to want to miss out. Go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, tap on that bell, y'all, and hit that thumbs up button if you're a big fan of Halloween Kills. I don't know why I did like half a thumbs up with this hand, but guys, get loud in the comments below as well when you see the film, and let me know, what did you think of the movie? Did it live up to your expectations, or were you a little disappointed by Halloween Kills? Alrighty, y'all, so let's get into the positives. Let's start off on an optimistic note here. If you were coming into Halloween Kills looking for a film that is brutal, that is gory, that is gruesome, guys, you're gonna get that here. This is arguably the most brutal film I've seen this year. It is just insane, the amount of kills, first of all. Second of all, what Michael Myers does to these poor people of Haddonfield, oh my gosh, it is just insane. There are some kills here that had my entire theater gasping and had me, dropping the popcorn out of my mouth. It was disgusting. But I will tell you that the kills here were definitely the strongest in terms of graphic imagery that I've ever seen in a film in 2021. It's a lot, guys. So if you don't have an iron stomach, Halloween Kills might not be for you, but if you do want to see some kills in a slasher like this, you're gonna be happy. And technically speaking, when it comes to the cinematography, I kept saying to myself, man, this movie is actually shot pretty well. Michael Simmons returns as the cinematographer here, and he does a better job here than I thought he did in the first movie. And actually, now that I think about it, in the 2018 movie, that was one of the bright spots, I would say. So it seems like, in terms of cinematography, they're 2 for 2 with these Halloween sequels. And I felt that the score was just fine too, and it's funny because John Carpenter actually had a hand in composing the score here. There's that classic Halloween theme. Some of the instrumentation during these kill sequences were really ominous, and I was kind of tense because of the score sometimes, so it helps set the mood and the atmosphere. I will talk about whether or not it actually executes all the way through, but I did think the score was fine in this movie. And then when it comes to the overall film, there are some small moments of brilliance in Halloween Kills. I mean, there were some scenes here that just had me on the edge of my seat, like the forest sequence where, I won't tell you who's involved, but let's just say Michael Myers is slowly stalking one of the victims in the forest, and it is just a pulse-pounding sequence because to me, that is where the film should have really found itself more often than not, which is just playing to the actual intimidation of Michael Myers instead of just making our characters stupid. But again, we'll talk about that later. And then another small moment of brilliance here was inside of an SUV. And that sounds weird, but it was full of kind of like humor, but also of horror, and I did think that it was shot very well and composed incredibly well. And then you have inside of Michael Myers' childhood home. Those moments, I think, were some of my favorite of the movie, and they were fun, and I actually thought, okay, this movie is kind of picking itself up out of a low place, because guys, I regret to inform you, that is the end of the positives for Halloween Kills. And we got to get right into the negatives because, y'all, this movie was just incredibly disappointing. Halloween Kills is a very messy movie. I mean, the editing is completely jarring, so let's start there, because the movie itself doesn't feel like it's put together very well. Not only does it feel a little rushed in the post-production process, but a lot of scenes just kind of get mushed together, and there's no real consistent flow from start to finish. And I think that also has to do with the direction here. There are some emotional beats that just never hit for me, and I do think the movie tries to get dramatic at the wrong times. There's a big issue here for me with tone, and the movie doesn't know whether or not it wants to be just straight up slasher and disregard all of our characters, or give our characters some decent motivations. And that's the biggest issue for me, is that the characters here have very shallow motivations, even compared to the 2018 film, which I didn't really enjoy either. I thought it was okay, but man, this movie made the 2018 film great in my eyes, and that's not always a good thing. And I had a really big issue with the dialogue here, and I know that slashers aren't known for their dialogue, but none of it here felt like it was natural. There are these moments between Jamie Lee Curtis and Will Paxton inside of a hospital, for example, towards the middle of the film, where they felt out of place. Both of them are having a heart-to-heart, and Will Paxton is really opening up to Jamie Lee Curtis, and it didn't really feel like it fit for me. It just was way too melodramatic, and it just kind of killed the entire momentum of the film. And I thought to myself, okay, we're not going to get this very often, but that's pretty much all we see of Jamie Lee Curtis and Will Paxton, is them sharing these moments that to me didn't really feel earned. And when it comes to the acting in general, that kind of fell flat for me too. The biggest gripe I have with this film is that the best actor here, I think the person that delivered the best performance in these sequel Halloween films so far, has been Jamie Lee Curtis, and she was hardly in this movie, guys, and that was definitely a choice, but it wasn't a good one. And I think on the surface, I do understand that this movie was really more so about the people of Haddonfield and how they're gaining this mob mentality to try and kill Michael Myers, and I do appreciate that David Gordon Green gave Andi Matichak a little bit more of a center stage role here, but the problem is, the movie just dumbs down the Strode family, and that's not good. You would think that after the 2018 movie, seeing Laurie Strode and her family actually take down Michael Myers, or so they thought, they would feel empowered, courageous, and they would actually be able to stand up to Michael Myers. But instead, this movie dumbs down our characters at the expense of making Michael Myers feel immortal. And that to me is just an issue, because I don't understand how Andi Matichak gives a really strong performance in the first film, or the sequel I should say, and then we come back for Halloween Kills, and she is just not able to even look at Michael Myers without breaking down, and I'm like, just pause. Why are these character motivations all over the place? Why is the character development so weird here? I just didn't care for it, and honestly, the amount of stupidity in this movie, and not in a good way, really took me out of the film. I can only suspend belief for so long until I start to think, okay, this movie is just dumb to be dumb. And then there's the issue for me with the script, because there are a few screenplay writers here. One that I thought was incredibly interesting that they brought on for the 2018 movie, Danny McBride. And it's funny because you can definitely tell he has his handprint all over the humor in this movie. But for me, I don't know. I just think the humor didn't really work compared to the 2018 film, and that's saying a lot because I didn't really laugh in that film either. I just think that the humor wasn't executed properly, and there were almost too many punchlines to where, yeah, I think general audiences might laugh, and I get that. But for me, I didn't find myself really laughing too much at all, and that's kind of a shame because I guess they were swinging for the fences, they just missed more than they hit. Oh, and they also overused this one line, "Evil ends tonight." I mean, I swear, y'all, there was a moment where the only line of dialogue between Jamie Lee Curtis and Will Paxton was literally "Evil ends tonight." Like, they just kept saying it back and back and back. I'm like, just relax, we understand, evil ends tonight. And then you get to the next scene with Tommy, one of the characters in this film, who basically leads the people of Haddonfield to go and try and kill Michael Myers. And all he says is "Evil ends tonight." And I'm like, all right, bro, we get it. And even though I said it's a positive, I do think that this movie was using a lot of the blood, gore, and these gruesome moments to hopefully make general audiences overlook the poor execution in this movie. I mean, the film just continues to jump all the way around, and even at one point I felt like our audience was asleep because they're using so many flashbacks in this movie, trying to play with space and time to get us in this weird frame of mind and trying to, I guess, give a lot of our characters purpose. But the issue is, we spend so much time building up the character of Lonnie, for example, in this film, that by the end, the way it ends, first of all, is anticlimactic, but by the end, the characters just feel like they're thrown off by the wayside, that they're pretty much forgotten about, that they try to refocus on the Strode family, and it doesn't work because even their focus on the Strode family is flawed. Seriously guys, I'm just not a fan of how weak and dumb they made the Strode family in this movie after propping them up to be so great in the 2018 film, and I just wonder what happened to this movie. And that was pretty much my question when I left the theater. What happened with Halloween Kills? So guys, overall, this is a sequel to a film that I thought was and I even liked it less than the 2018 movie. Halloween Kills honestly showed me that even though a third film is in the works with Halloween Ends, this trilogy just isn't hitting how it should. And it sucks to say because I came into this optimistic that it would be better than Halloween, the 2018 movie, and I thought to myself, boy, this doesn't make me excited for the third movie, and it's just incredibly messy. It just breaks my heart because the movie actually hits very well in the kills department. It's gruesome, it's hard hitting, but it just really forgets about everything else, which is proper character development, writing, and a coherent script. I think we just live in a day and age where we've gotten enough smart horror movies and reboots or remakes and franchises that have basically legacy characters for me to say, you know what? Hey, this is actually doing a decent job. I look at Scream 4, for example, where years later it comes back and it delivers a decent slasher. But for me, Halloween Kills, yes, it is, if you just look at it as a slasher, a pretty okay film. But if you're looking at it as an overall film, you guys, an overall experience, Halloween Kills is an incredibly disappointing movie in 2021. So there you have it, you guys. That's my real review of Halloween Kills, a movie that unfortunately fell flat and, well, made me really appreciate the 2018 film a little bit more. And again, that sounds like a good thing, but it ain't. Guys, I wish I loved this movie, but hey, I want to hear from you. Let me know down below in the comments. Do you agree with me? When you watched this movie on Peacock or in theaters, what did you think? Which kill was your favorite? And where does it rank so far in the Halloween franchise? And if you haven't already, hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and tap on that bell, y'all, so you go ahead and stay up to date with any reviews and reactions. We got DC Fandom this weekend, we got Dune this week, and so much more as we round out 2021. Alrighty, y'all, again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening. And I swear, I ain't catching Michael Myers at the next screening, because if I do, again, keys in the car, and we driving away.